Okay, one of those segments I've been promising you that we are introducing to this show daily now is something called Mission Possible. We've talked about big ideas. Now we're talking about people who go out and make a difference. People you can take some inspiration from who really sometimes put themselves or their livelihoods at risk to promote a better way of doing things. I want to introduce you to a filmmaker who put down his camera to save some lives, and then he picked it right back up again to document the disaster that was gripping Tennessee. One of the faces of last week's devastating flooding that, by the way, so many of us have trouble getting our head around. Rob McDonald is joining me now live from Nashville. Rob, thanks for joining us. Tell our viewers a little bit about your story. You're a filmmaker. What were you doing, and what made you get out there and become part of the rescue effort?
Well, I saw, obviously, it was raining, and I was pacing around the house and nervous and thought I'd just drive and look around, and initially tried to get through my creek, and it was maybe a little bit dangerous, and I went home and thought I'd wait a little bit and decided I've got to go out, and was driving around looking for the fire department, and I could not find the fire department, and I turned on this Sawyer Brown Road, and there they were in force working where the roads had flooded. And I went up to a couple of guys and said, "Do you need a boat?" And they said yes. And I rushed home, got my boat, took it into the water, and there were just, it was just devastating what you saw. Houses flooded up to the roofs, young people in sweatshirts, T-shirts out there serving. It was quite an event of people from everywhere, every walk coming to serve.
I want to ask my producers to just put some of these pictures on that you're looking at right now. These are photographs that you took. Tell me how did you sort of decide you wanted to take these photographs? I know this is part of what you do for a living, but there was something more important behind this.
Well, number one, it's a bit instinctive, but two, my daughter encouraged me to carry this camera, and it's her camera, and I thought, well, I'm going to ruin it in the rain, but it's probably worth it. And so trying to drive the boat, it's a tiller handle boat, in the current and picking up that camera was a bit of a trick, and I really didn't intend to do a film with this. I was doing this for my own benefit, but when I got home, my daughter said, "Some of your pictures are as good as what I've seen," and Bonnie encouraged me to write the story, and so I know how to put it together, so I did.
And tell me about the story. Where is this going to be?
Well, where's it going to be? I put it on Facebook and YouTube, and that's all I expected to do with it. I'm as shocked as anybody. I'm sitting right here talking to you, Allie.
Well, and by the way, I know you told our producer you're still sort of not past it. You're not beyond this. This still feels current to you. And by the way, to people in Tennessee.
Well, it is. By the way, thank you again for covering this disaster. It's really still quite awful. Even though our rivers have a lot of water, the sewage systems are just devastated, and there's a real danger that we may not have good drinking water, but I think so far we do. But we're still in a mess. Yesterday I drove through the area where I boated, and there were people's household items for well over a mile on either side of the road, stacked up 15, 20 feet high. It's a sight you'll never, ever see again. And
your point in documenting this, again, because it is instinctive, but your point is that what did you see that most moved you? Well,
the people's faces, there was any range from being stunned to this 90-year-old lady we picked up at the very last. And she was happy. We lifted her into the boat. She made us all cheerful. I don't know if you've seen that picture yet or not, but it's probably the favorite of all that I took.
And you felt that you also saw other people doing what you did. You saw other people who were not in harm's way as much as some people were, going out and coming together and helping their neighbors and helping other people out.
Yes, and it was a great mix of, there were 4 or 5 other fishing boats like mine. There was a rescue crew that came in from Knoxville, Tennessee that did heroic work, and it was just a great experience of the private sector and the public sector coming together. Nobody really in command of the situation. We all knew we just had to go out and help people.
That's the way it works. Rob, thanks very much. And we're glad that's the way it worked. Let's put it that way. It doesn't always work that way. Thanks very much, and our hearts are with you all in Tennessee. It was quite remarkable to see all of that happening, and thanks for being with us. Rob McDonald is a filmmaker who went out, not only took pictures of what was going on, but he rescued lots of Nashville residents from last week's flood. All right, Ed Henry, standing by for the Ed Henry segment. Ed, by the way, has not been able to say a ton about the Supreme